The Amhara people have a rich and complex history in Ethiopia. They have played a significant role in shaping the country's political, cultural and social landscape for centuries. However, the concept of Amhara nationalism as a distinct political force is a relatively recent phenomenon. It emerged in response to perceived marginalization and historical grievances, particularly following the Ethiopian Revolution of 1974 and the subsequent rise of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, or TPLF, to power in 1991. For much of the 20th century, Ethiopian nationalism, often associated with the imperial regime of Haile Selassie, overshadowed ethnic identities. The Amhara, as the dominant ethnic group during this period, were seen as both beneficiaries and enforcers of this centralized state. This historical context is crucial for understanding the complex relationship between Amhara identity and Ethiopian nationalism. The overthrow of the monarchy and the establishment of a Marxist regime under Mengistu Haile Mariam led to a period of political upheaval and ethnic tensions. The TPLF emerged as a powerful force during this era, advocating for the rights of the Tigrayan people. The TPLF's victory in 1991 marked a turning point in Ethiopian history, ushering in a new era of ethnic federalism. This system, while intended to address historical grievances and promote equality among Ethiopia's diverse ethnic groups, inadvertently created new tensions and divisions. The Amhara, who had long held political and economic power, felt marginalized under the new system, which they perceived as favoring the TPLF and other ethnic groups. This perceived marginalization, coupled with historical grievances, laid the groundwork for the emergence of Amhara nationalism as a potent political force in the 1990s. The 1990s witnessed a significant shift in Amhara identity. The TPLF-led government implemented policies of ethnic federalism which, although intended to empower marginalized groups, were perceived by some Amharas as a form of ethnic engineering that threatened their language, culture, and political representation. The reallocation of land and resources, particularly in areas claimed by both Amhara and Tigrayan groups, further fueled resentment and a sense of historical injustice. The Amhara, once at the center of Ethiopian political life, now found themselves navigating a system that emphasized ethnic difference over national unity. This shift led to the emergence of Amhara-centric political parties and movements, advocating for greater autonomy and recognition within the federal system. The concept of Amharaness gained traction, uniting people across socio-economic backgrounds under a shared sense of grievance and marginalization. This rise in ethnic consciousness was not limited to the political sphere. Amhara intellectuals, artists and activists began to explore and reclaim their cultural heritage. Literature, music and traditional forms of expression became vehicles for articulating Amhara identity and countering what was perceived as cultural erasure. This period also saw the emergence of a generational divide within the Amhara community. While older generations who had lived through the era of Ethiopian nationalism often held on to a vision of a unified Ethiopia, younger Amharas who had grown up under the shadow of ethnic federalism were more likely to embrace Amhara nationalism as a means of securing their rights and interests. The national movement of Amhara, or Nyama, emerged in 2018 as a significant political force, channeling the growing discontent among Amharas. Nama advocated for the interests of the Amhara people within the Ethiopian federal system, demanding greater autonomy, resource control, and an end to perceived marginalization. This movement tapped into the anxieties and aspirations of many Amharas, particularly those who felt that their voices were not being heard in the national political landscape. Nama's platform resonated with a broad spectrum of Amhara society, from farmers and traders to intellectuals and urban youth. The party skillfully used social media and traditional forms of communication to mobilize support and disseminate its message. Nama's rise coincided with a period of political transition in Ethiopia, marked by the rise of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and his promises of reform and reconciliation. However, Nama's relationship with Abiy's government has been complex and often fraught with tension. While initially welcoming Abiy's reforms, Nama soon grew critical of what it perceived as the government's failure to adequately address Amhara grievances. The party accused Abiy of prioritizing national unity over the specific needs and concerns of the Amhara people. Nama's emergence as a powerful political force highlighted the growing assertiveness of Amhara nationalism. It also underscored the challenges of governing a multi-ethnic nation like Ethiopia, where balancing competing ethnic claims and aspirations remains a delicate and often contentious task. The Fano and Amhara youth movement, initially formed as a cultural and self-defense group, gained prominence in the mid-2010s. Rooted in rural communities, Fano gained traction as a response to perceived government inaction against attacks on Amharas in different parts of the country. Their initial activities involved protecting communities and advocating for Amhara rights. However, the group's activities increasingly militarized, particularly following clashes with security forces and other ethnic militias. The Fano's rise coincided with a period of growing insecurity and ethnic violence in Ethiopia. The group's rhetoric, often characterized by a fierce defense of Amhara land, culture, and identity, resonated with many who felt vulnerable and disillusioned with the government's inability to protect them. The Fano's decentralized structure and deep roots in local communities made it difficult for the government to control or suppress, turning them into a potent symbol of Amhara resistance. The Fano's relationship with the Ethiopian government has been marked by both cooperation and conflict. During the initial stages of the Tigray War, the Fano fought alongside government forces against the TPLF. However, this alliance fractured following the war, with the Fano accusing the government of neglecting Amhara interests in the peace negotiations. This disillusionment, coupled with the government's attempts to disarm the group, led to renewed clashes, transforming the Fano from an ally into an armed opposition force. The Fano's trajectory highlights the complex dynamics of ethnic conflict and the challenges of state building in multi-ethnic societies. The group's rise also underscores the dangers of unaddressed grievances and the potential for local conflicts to escalate into broader regional instability. Embracing one's identity is a powerful act of self-recognition and pride. For the Amhara people, this means acknowledging their rich history, vibrant culture, and, their contributions to the broader Ethiopian narrative. It's about, celebrating their language, their traditions, and their unique customs. By embracing their identity, the Amhara people not only honor their past, but also pave the way for a more inclusive and diverse future. It's a journey of understanding and appreciation that strengthens their sense of belonging and unity. The spark that ignited Amhara nationalism can be traced back to a series of pivotal events. These moments, seemingly isolated, collectively fueled a growing sense of identity and purpose among the Amhara people. Over time, these events coalesced into a powerful movement driven by a desire for recognition and self-determination. The rise of Amhara nationalism did not come without its challenges. Conflict and displacement became unfortunate byproducts of the struggle. Many Amhara people found themselves caught in the crossfire, leading to a significant humanitarian crisis. Families were torn apart and communities were uprooted, creating a landscape of uncertainty and hardship. The socio-political implications of Amhara nationalism for Ethiopia are profound. This movement has reshaped the political landscape, influencing policies and governance. It has also sparked debates on national identity, unity, and diversity. The ripple effects of Amhara nationalism are felt across the nation, prompting both reflection and action from various stakeholders. Looking ahead, the challenges and prospects for Amhara nationalism are both daunting and promising. There are hurdles to overcome, including political resistance and social fragmentation. Yet there is also hope for a future where the aspirations of the Amhara people are realized. The path forward will require resilience, dialogue, and a commitment to a shared vision for Ethiopia's future.
Ethiopia, a land of ancient history and diverse cultures, has long grappled with the complexities of ethnic identity and national unity. The Amhara people, one of the country's largest ethnic groups, have played a central role in shaping this narrative. For centuries, Amhara emperors ruled over a vast empire, leaving an indelible mark on Ethiopia's political, cultural, and religious landscape. However, the fall of the monarchy in 1974 and the subsequent rise of the Derg, a Marxist military junta, ushered in an era of political upheaval and ethnic tensions. The Derg's brutal reign, marked by repression and human rights abuses, sowed the seeds of discontent among many Ethiopians, including the Amhara. The overthrow of the Derg in 1991 by a coalition of rebel groups, led by the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, brought about a new era of ethnic federalism. Under this system, Ethiopia was divided into 9 ethnically based regions, each with a degree of autonomy. While intended to address historical grievances and promote self-determination, ethnic federalism also had the unintended consequence of exacerbating ethnic tensions. For many Amhara, the new system was seen as a threat to their historical dominance and national unity. The TPLF, which dominated Ethiopian politics for nearly 3 decades, implemented policies that were perceived by some Amhara as discriminatory and marginalizing. Land disputes, economic disparities, and political exclusion fueled a sense of resentment and alienation among segments of the Amhara population. These grievances, coupled with a deep-seated sense of historical injustice, created fertile ground for the emergence of Amhara nationalism. The transition from imperial rule to ethnic federalism in Ethiopia had a profound impact on the Amhara people. Under the reign of Emperor Haile Selassie I, overthrown in 1974, Amharic language and culture enjoyed a privileged status. Amhara elites held key positions in government, the military, and the economy. This dominance, rooted in centuries of imperial expansion and consolidation, shaped Amhara self-perceptions and their relationship with other ethnic groups. The Derg's socialist revolution challenged this established order, attempting to dismantle the old feudal system and create a more egalitarian society. However, the Derg's efforts to suppress ethnic identity and impose a centralized Marxist-Leninist ideology proved counterproductive. Ethnic tensions, suppressed under Haile Selassie's rule, resurfaced with a vengeance. The TPLF, drawing support from the Tigrayan people, emerged as a formidable force in the struggle against the Derg. The TPLF's victory in 1991 marked a turning point in Ethiopian history, ushering in an era of ethnic federalism. This new system, enshrined in the 1995 constitution, recognized the right of each ethnic group to self-determination, including the right to secession. While the TPLF initially enjoyed widespread support for its role in toppling the Derg, its policies soon drew criticism from various quarters, including some segments of the Amhara population. The new federal system, while intended to address historical grievances, was seen by some Amhara as fragmenting the country and undermining national unity. The TPLF's emphasis on ethnic identity politics, coupled with its perceived favoritism towards Tigrayans, fueled resentment among some Amhara, who felt marginalized and politically excluded. This sense of grievance, rooted in a combination of historical, political, and economic factors, contributed to the growth of Amhara nationalism in the post-1991 era. The turn of the millennium witnessed a resurgence of Amhara nationalism in Ethiopia, fueled by a complex interplay of historical grievances, political marginalization, and economic disparities. This resurgent nationalism found expression in various forms, from peaceful protests to armed struggle. The rise of social media and the internet provided new platforms for Amhara activists and intellectuals to articulate their concerns, mobilize support, and challenge the dominant narrative. The Ethiopian government's response to this growing movement was often characterized by repression and a reluctance to address the underlying grievances. Amhara activists and journalists faced harassment, intimidation, and arrest for expressing dissenting views. This crackdown, rather than silencing the movement, only served to further alienate and radicalize segments of the Amhara population. The 2018 formation of the National Movement of Amhara, NAMA, a political party advocating for the rights of the Amhara people, marked a significant development in the evolution of Amhara nationalism. Nama's emergence reflected the growing desire among some Amhara for greater autonomy and self-determination within the Ethiopian Federation. The party's platform, centered on issues such as land rights, economic justice, and political representation, resonated with many Amhara who felt marginalized and underrepresented in the existing political system. Nama's rise coincided with the emergence of Fano, an Amhara youth movement that would play a pivotal role in the tumultuous events that would engulf Ethiopia in the years to come. The grievances and resentment among the Amhara people have deep roots, intertwined with Ethiopia's complex history and evolving political landscape. As the nation continues to navigate its path forward, understanding the sources of Amhara nationalism is crucial for fostering a more inclusive and harmonious society. In this chapter, we delve into the complex role of various groups. Are they truly defenders of the people, or do their actions contribute to instability? It's a question that has sparked intense debate and differing perspectives. Many argue that their primary goal is to protect their communities, while others believe that their methods create more chaos than order. We'll explore both sides of this contentious issue and try to understand the motivations behind their actions. Join us as we unravel the intricate dynamics at play. The historical context of Amhara mobilization is deeply rooted in Ethiopia's complex past. Over the years, various events have acted as catalysts, propelling the Amhara community to assert their identity and rights more vigorously. Indeed, the shifts in political power and social dynamics have significantly influenced this mobilization. In a country as diverse as Ethiopia, navigating identity is no simple task. The Amhara people, like many others, have had to reconcile their rich cultural heritage with the evolving national landscape. This journey has been marked by both challenges and triumphs, as they strive to maintain their unique identity while contributing to the broader Ethiopian society. The spectre of civil war looms large over Ethiopia, casting a shadow of unrest and uncertainty. For the Amhara community, this period has been particularly tumultuous. The fear of conflict and the reality of violence have left indelible marks on their collective consciousness. As they navigate this turbulent time, the quest for peace and stability remains paramount. Despite the challenges, the Amhara people are resilient and forward-looking. Charting a path forward requires a delicate balance of honoring their past and embracing the future. Through dialogue, unity, and a commitment to progress, they continue to shape their destiny within the Ethiopian mosaic. The journey ahead is undoubtedly complex, but with determination and hope, a brighter future is within reach.